Last year we looked at two cameras, the Sony SLT A33 and the A55, that Sony were thinking would change the world of photography. But the intriguingness of that concept hasn't exactly set the world alight. Now, Sony has added a semi-pro enthusiast model to the lineup, the A77, and believe that this could be a very worthy DSLR for those enthusiasts.
It certainly feels pretty good, nice and solid, but somehow it managed to feel plasticky at the same time. It's kind of like a Hollywood action hero. Certainly, it does have a Hulk-like appearance. I mean, usual DSLRs are like this. But this is like...
Although it doesn't really matter what a DSLR looks like. After all, you're not buying twin points for style. It is worth noting that it shares a resemblance to the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Just for our amusement, of course.
When I first looked at the picture, I thought it made the Knight Rider car look modern and cool looking. But actually, looking at now, it's not actually that bad. And within this magnesium alloy chassis hides a load of good features.
That semi-transparent mirror semi-hides a 24 megapixel CMOS sensor. Also in there, there's a 19-point AF system with 11 cross-type points.
Now, Sony are aiming this at the serious photographers, serious hobbyists and the semi-pros. And the body is quite nice. The grip fits in the hand really quite nicely.
It's rubberized, so your hand sticks to it like a fly to a turd.
And of course, we've got the dual dials here. And now to fit this really interesting tilty swivelly screen.
It has a 3-inch 921,000 dot TFT LCD screen with true black technology, whatever that means.
It not only tilts, swivels, but it stands up like that. Like some mechanical meerkat. Check that out. That is pretty cool. Look at that.
This screen would kick ass, but it doesn't have feet, so it flaps ass.
And as well as that tilty swivelly screen, you've got this 2.4 million dot electronic viewfinder. This is probably the best electronic viewfinder I've ever used.
Look through the EVF and you'll see the AF zones. Press the display button, you get more fancy gizmos, such as the leveling meter. You could use this camera as a spirit level.
And one of the best additions to this camera to make it a proper semi-pro camera is the fact that it's weather sealed. Yeah. It's a bit dirty, needed to clean it a bit. There you go. Oh, there you go. Sweating like Barry after a good workout in the gym, I imagine. Haven't seen him work out in the gym. There you go, look at that. Soaked. Let's switch it on. Oh God, it's dead. No, not really. Of course, as it's an electronic viewfinder, you have to switch it on to look through the viewfinder, otherwise you see nothing. One annoying thing is that look, the live view screen is on now, but when you pull up to your eye, it takes about half a second before it switches to electronic viewfinder. Bit slow. Missed your shot then, it's gone. No decisive moment. Decisive moment, bye-bye. Of course, arguably one of the best things about having a translucent mirror is that you can have a ridiculously high burst rate. 12 frames per second. Oh, bloody hell. That was good. That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? It's like R2-D2 having a fit. Oh, check this out. Ooh.
Hearing that 12 frames per second burst is quite something. It's not quite as beefy as hearing a mirror slap up and down, but it works really quite well.
I think we should try some fast moving subjects though. He's not going anywhere quick.
One of the problems with the previous translucent mirrored cameras from Sony was the not so hot AF with fast moving subjects. This camera works fine on fast moving dogs. This Alpha does a good job of tracking subjects. Good stuff.
Oh.
These are straight out of the camera JPEGs. It produces some reasonably robust files with decent dynamic range. You can push the exposure of the files quite a fair bit.
Actually, one thing that seems a bit weird is that when you change the aperture, actually, one thing that does seem a bit weird though, is that when you change the aperture and the shutter speed, it seems that it's a bit slow to react. You twist this, and it takes a slight millisecond to respond. Old man on cycle. Oh no, he's not old man, sorry. Actually, that's a good example of when I pulled up to my eye and nothing happened because it was too busy trying to switch back to electronic viewfinder. Okay, here's some more on some lady bikes. Hide behind a tree, pick them off. Here we go.
Then back to the lab for a couple more tests.
So now we're going to do an Angry Birds noise test. Not really, not really. It's going to be a proper noise test. The camera noise, you get it? Yeah, I had a little bit of an accident with the tripod 3 times, and it's got feet now. But actually, it's actually steadier than it was before. There you go, cheap tripods. If you want to fix a cheap tripod, make it better, do that. Perfect. So anyway, let's do a noise test to see how noisy it isn't, or is. Oh, oh no, oh no. There you go. You wouldn't get that with Gitso, would you? Obviously eyes are broken from football, but that's not the point, is it? So, it's not it keeps wobbling. Look at that, they don't make tripods like they used to.
The A77 gives reasonable performance up until ISO 6400. At ISO 12800 there's some smudging of the details and noticeable noise. It's pretty much down here from here. Well, obviously.
Some people worry about the translucent mirror and that you'll actually lose some light. Well, of course, because there's a mirror in the way. It bounces some of the light upwards. So there's a little bit missing when it goes through to the sensor. But just how much does it really matter? Let's do a little test to show you how much light you lose. Now I'm taking the lens off because when you flip up the mirror, it actually sticks out, so you can't actually take any shots with the lens on. So let's first take a photo of a wall. Here we go. So this is with the mirror in the normal position. Now let's flip up the mirror. You do that by pressing this little thing here. Look at that. There we are. You can see that it actually sticks out.
Okay, so hardly scientific, but looking at the photos there's a noticeable difference in exposure. Some say you lose half a stop of exposure, and I have to say that is about right. It's kind of between a third to half a stop. It may be an f2.8 lens, but you're getting the same amount of light as an f3.3 lens. An exposure that would have been 1500th of a second would be 1000th with the A77. This A77 has surprised me because I was expecting it to be like the A33 and A55. But this kind of works. The EVF is good, the burst rate excellent, the AF for stills and video both quite decent. is a thoroughly solid camera, albeit unconventional looking. But it's not looks that prevent it from being a win of a camera. It's more about the whole unconventional nature of the translucent mirror. It might not bother everyone, as it has its benefits, but the fact in the matter is that the mirror is essentially compromising the quality of the light, and some will still like an optical finder better, no matter how good this one is. It's just a bit too sluggish with some of its operation. But it's not so much a question of, is it a good camera? Then, do you want a camera with a translucent mirror?